regularly scheduled meeting of the Community Development Committee of the Metropolitan Council for Monday, March 16th, 2020. We have a quorum of the committee. My thanks to committee members for being the hardy souls that you are. For those who can't see us, we are practicing social distancing. We're filling the space. And again, my thanks to all of you that have come out. We have an agenda before us. I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. We have the minutes of the March 2nd, 2020 regular meeting of the Community Development Committee. I entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion, additions, corrections? Seeing none, all in approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. We'll move on to our business agenda, which is our only agenda for the day. We have 6 items. The first is 2020-55. It's a joint committee item. It's the Spring Lake Park 2040 Comprehensive Plan and Comprehensive Sewer Plan. And Ms. Torres will be presenting. Welcome, Ms. Torres. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, committee members. I'm Angela Torres, Manager of Local Planning Assistance in the Community Development Division. The city's consultants at Stantec were really great in working through this plan review process with me, and I just wanted to kind of give them a quick shout out and offer my appreciation for their partnership in getting this plan in front of you today.
Thank you.
Before you today is the review of the City of Spring Lake Park's 2040 Comprehensive Plan. This map shows the location of regional system components within the City of Spring Lake Park. Trunk Highway 65 is a principal arterial that runs generally north-south through the city. The interchange of Trunk Highway 65 and County Highway 10 is located in the northeast quadrant of the city. All residences and businesses are served by the municipal sanitary sewer collection system, which directs flow through the council interceptor system to the Metropolitan wastewater treatment facility in St. Paul for treatment and discharge to the Mississippi River. There are no regional park system components in the city. Thrive MSP 2040 has designated the city as suburban. Spring Lake Park is located in southern Anoka County with an eastern portion of the community located in Ramsey County. It is surrounded by the communities of Blaine, Mounds View, and Fridley. Table 1, also in your staff report, shows that between 2020 and 2040, the council forecasts that the city will grow by 700 people, representing 320 households. There will be an increase of 320 jobs in the city in the same time frame. Table 2 from the staff report shown here illustrates the planned residential density in the suburban areas of the city. The overall density for guided residential land is expected to be between 5.68 and 14.61 units per acre. Communities with a suburban designation under Thrive are expected to plan for forecasted population and household growth at overall average minimum densities of 5 units per acre for new development and redevelopment, and the City of Spring Lake Park's plan is consistent with this policy. The city's existing land use map refers to figure 3 in the staff report. Existing land uses in the city are predominantly residential and include low, medium, and high density categories. Right-of-way is a predominant land use as County Highway 10 and Trunk Highway 65 converge in the northeast portion of the city. The city's future land use map refers to figure 4 in the staff report. The city is a fully developed community and land uses haven't changed drastically from the 2030 plan to the 2040 plan. Low density residential remains the predominant land use, and the plan outlines redevelopment areas as the city's primary focus in the 2040 plan, which we'll talk about here. There are 5 potential redevelopment areas, each numbered and overlain on top of the future land use map. This map can be found in figure 5 of the staff report. The redevelopment areas are largely for commercial redevelopment, except for a new mixed-use redevelopment area, which is numbered 1, located east of Trunk Highway 65 and west of Central Avenue. This area currently includes a mix of low, medium, and high density residential, commercial, and commercial industrial properties. The plan states that the transition to mixed use will allow for more housing units with improved access to local businesses. And the mix planned for in this mixed use area is 80% residential and 20% commercial uses. The proposed findings are that the plan conforms to metropolitan system plans, is consistent with council policies, and compatible with the plans of adjacent local governmental units and affected jurisdictions. The meeting schedule is for the environmental services staff to present to the Environment Committee on March 24th, and that this will be on the agenda for the Metropolitan Council on April 8th. So then the proposed action in front of you today is to authorize the City of Spring Lake Park to place its 2040 comprehensive plan into effect.
Thank you,
No
Ms.
advisory
Torres.
comment.
What's that?
With no advisory
I know,
comment.
I was kind of surprised. It's one of our shortest proposed
It's very
actions
short.
on a comp plan.
Yes.
Much appreciated. Questions on that report? Any questions? Councilmember Chambliss?
Yeah, I'm glad that Spring Lake Park has a comprehensive plan approved, and I just wanted to mention also that a portion that is not Ramsey County is also in District 2 for Spring Lake Park.
Correct.
That's for Anoka County.
Thank you. And very cool. I thought it would be part of your district. Thank you. Any other questions or comments on that report? Seeing none, Ms. Torres proposes that we authorize the City of Spring Lake Park to place its 2040 comprehensive plan into effect. I don't know if I should call on Councilmember Lindstrom or Councilmember Chambliss to make the motion.
Take it away.
I make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
second that.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion on that motion? Discussion. Seeing none, all in approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Thank you, Ms. Torres.
Thank you.
We'll move on to our second business item, 2020-61, another joint committees item. It's the Centerville 2040 Comprehensive Plan and Comprehensive Sewer Plan, and Mr. Larson will present. Welcome, Mr. Larson. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Good afternoon. I'm Mike Larson, Senior Planner and Local Planning Assistant. Before you today is the review of the City of Centerville's 2040 Comprehensive Plan. This map shows the location of regional system components within Centerville. Regional park system elements include the Chain of Lakes Park Reserve, the Bunker Hills Chain of Lakes and Cedar Anoka Regional Trails, and the Chain of Lakes Otter Lake Regional Trails Search Corridor. Regional highway system elements include I-35E, which is located just east of the city and is easily accessible via County State 8 Highway 14, which is Centerville's Main Street. All wastewater generated within the city is conveyed through two council interceptors. All flow is treated at the council's Metropolitan Wastewater Treatment Center and Treatment Plant in St. Paul. Thrive MSP 2040 has designated the city as Emerging Suburban Edge. Centerville is located in southeastern Anoka County and is completely surrounded by the city of Lino Lakes. The plan includes a revised population forecast, which council staff recommend and is based on a change of forecasted household size. The forecast revision will be approved by the council simultaneous with action on the plan. Table 2 from the staff report shown here illustrates the planned residential density in the city. The overall density for guided residential land is expected to be between 3.5 and 9.1 units per acre. Communities with an emerging suburban edge designation under Thrive are expected to plan for forecasted population and household growth at overall average minimum densities of 3 to 5 units per acre for new development and redevelopment, and Centerville's plan is consistent with this policy. The Centerville and Lino Lakes area, to give you a little bit of history, was inhabited by the Dakota prior to European settlement in the 1840s. Europeans were attracted to the area because of opportunities related to hunting and fur trapping and later agricultural development in the area. Centerville Township was established in 1857 and encompassed what is all of the present-day Centerville as well as Lino Lakes. Interestingly, this was interesting history for me to learn, that the area that includes the present-day boundaries of this Centerville was a settlement for French immigrants. The city itself incorporated in 1968. Areas that the city has identified for future development include, but are not limited to, the southeast portion of the city, as well as the downtown area, which are guided as central business district / mixed use, as well as low density residential. The proposed findings for the committee today are that the plan conforms to Metropolitan System Plan, is consistent with council policies, with the proposed forecast revisions, and is compatible with the plans of adjacent local governmental units and affected jurisdictions. The meeting schedule for this item is that on March 24th, Environmental Services staff will present to the Environment Committee, and this will be on the Metropolitan Council agenda on April 8th. A little bit longer proposed action for you than the previous agenda item. Proposed action is to authorize the City of Centerville to place this 2040 comprehensive plan into effect. 2, to revise the city's forecast upward, as shown in tables 1 and 2 of the attached review record. And 3, prior to final adoption, the city needs to update or revise the following items in the plan: correct inconsistencies between the text and map 6-1 regarding roadway functional classification. B, a correct map reference regarding heavy commercial vehicle traffic counts. C, correct discrepancies in the plan regarding the number of forecasted employees served by SSTS in 2040. D, revise the plan to reflect extension of wastewater service to the Rice Creek Regional Park Reserve, including an inter-community service agreement with Lino Lakes. E, incorporate the revised TAZ allocation table sent by email on August 5th, 2019. And F, include the approved local water supply plan as an appendix. And I will just add that none of these items raise any kind of significant policy issues. These are just a matter of housekeeping.
Right.
So that concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. Any questions on that report? Questions? Yeah, Councilmember Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is not a question, it's just a comment. As a history buff, I really appreciate the really unique history sections that you mentioned in there. And also, speaking of immigrants, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you, Councilmember. For any further comments or discussion on the report? Seeing none, Mr. Larson has proposed a series of actions to approve the City of Centerville 2040 Comprehensive Plan. Councilmember Bento.
I move approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on that motion? Discussion. Seeing none, all in approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That carries. Thank you very much. And Mr. Larson, no go far. Our next item, 2020-69, is a joint committee's item, the 2040 Comprehensive Plan and Comprehensive Sewer Plan for the City of New Hope. Mr. Larson.
Good. Again, I'm Mike Larson with Senior Planner and Local Planning Assistance. For those of you just tuning in, before you now is the review of the City of New Hope's 2040 Comprehensive Plan. And I will mention, as with the previous item, we discouraged city staff and consultants from attending. And in both of these cases, there were really no significant matters for discussion. So,
Thank you.
This map shows the location of regional system components within New Hope. Regional trails located within the city include the Bassett Creek Regional Trail and the Eagle Lake, Bassett Creek, and CP Rail Extension Regional Trail Search Corridors. Regional highway system elements include U.S. Highway 169, which borders the city on the west. All wastewater generated within the city is conveyed through Council Interceptor 7114. All flow is treated at the Council's Metropolitan Wastewater Treatment Plant in St. Paul. Thrive MSP designates the city as urban. New Hope is located in East Central Hennepin County. It is surrounded by the communities of Brook Park, Bristol, Golden Valley, Plymouth, and Maple Grove. Table 1, also in your staff report, shows that between 2020 and 2040, the council expects that the city will grow by 2,000 people, representing 7,000 households. There will also be an increase of 800 jobs in the city at the same time frame. Table 2 from the staff report shown here illustrates the planned residential density in the city. The overall density for guided residential land is expected to be between 12.7 and 25.3 units per acre. Communities with an urban designation are expected to plan for forecasted population household growth at 10 units per acre. New Hope's plan is consistent with this policy. New Hope was originally a farming community in Crystal Lake Township referred to as Hope. In 1936, the city of Crystal incorporated. The farmers in the western part of the city broke off and formed New Hope Township. In 1953, New Hope incorporated as a city. Approximately 47% of New Hope is industrial. 47% is residential. 16%, a fairly sizable amount, is industrial. The city has two industrial areas, as you can see, they're quite obvious on the map, west of Boone Avenue from 49th Avenue to Bass Lake Road. In much of the land east of Winnetka Avenue, which runs north-south, and along the Canadian Pacific Railroad. The city anticipates redevelopment and intensification in the New Hope City Center and in the north. These two areas primarily scattered site throughout the city, but focused on its city center area and then again in the north. The proposed findings for you today is that the plan conforms to Metropolitan System plans, is consistent with council policies, and is compatible with the plans of adjacent local governmental units and affected jurisdictions. The meeting schedule is Environment Committee will review this on March 24th with full council on April 8th. The proposed action for you today is to authorize the City of New Hope to place its 2040 comprehensive plan into effect and to advise the city to implement the advisory comments in the review record for surface water management and water supply. And with that concludes my presentation. I'll answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. Any questions on that report? Questions? Seeing none, Mr. Larson has proposed action that we authorize the City of New Hope to place the 2040 comprehensive plan into effect and implement advisory comments. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Second? Thank you. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Larson. We'll move on to our business item 4, which is 2020-72. Joint committee item. It's it's Jordan's 2040 comprehensive plan and comprehensive sewer plan. And Mr. Riley will present. Thank you for being here, Mr. Riley.
Thank you, Chair Lilligren, members of the committee. You have in front of you the Jordan 2040 Comprehensive Plan, and I am Jake Riley, a Senior Planner and Sector Representative for District 3 in the Local Planning Assistance Unit. I'd like to let the committee know that LPA staff is very grateful to the City of Jordan's planning consultant, Hyla Mays, and other city staff for their work. Hyla made the journey today because she's got 2 plans on the agenda. Probably was going stir crazy like many of us. But before you today is the review of the City of Jordan's 2040 Comprehensive Plan. The map shows the location of Jordan. Regional system components of note are 2 regional trail search corridors, the Southern Scott and Minnesota River West LRT extensions, 1 planned trail, the Spring Lake Regional Trail, and U.S. Highway 169 runs through the northern portion of the community diagonally. The community designation for the City of Jordan is as a rural center. It's located in western Scott County, and it's surrounded by the communities of Sand Creek Township and St. Lawrence Township, and has an orderly annexation agreement with St. Lawrence Township. The forecasted growth for the city reference, this table references Table 1, also in your staff report. It shows that between 2020 and 2040, the council forecasts that the city will grow by 5,300 people, representing 2,200 households, and an increase of 600 jobs in the city in the same time frame. The proposed forecasts that appear in the staff report and in the plan are based on the orderly annexation agreements and plans to build out through 2040. So that's why we have new forecasts from the ones that were initially prepared by the council. The planned residential density for the City of Jordan is shown on Table 2, also from the staff report. The overall density for guided residential land is expected to be between 4 and 9.7 units per acre, which is consistent with Thrive. Communities with a rural center designation are expected to plan for forecasted population and household growth at an overall average minimum density of 3 to 5 units per acre for new development and redevelopment. The existing land uses in the City of Jordan refers to Figure 3 in the staff report. It's primarily agricultural in nature. That's the greatest percentage. But for the portion of the city that is not single-family residential, takes on the next percentage at 30%, and then there are a few clusters of industrial land use in the northern portion of the city, along with some commercial and retail, including the central business district. For 2040, you can see that the city boundary in the municipal area has increased. West of the existing area, the city expects to add several acres of low-density residential, industrial, and commercial development between now and the 2040 horizon, as shown here and on Figure 4 in your staff report. The proposed findings, therefore, today are that the plan conforms to the Metropolitan System plans, is consistent with council policies with the proposed forecast changes, and they are compatible with the plans of adjacent local governmental units and affected jurisdictions. This is also a joint committee item like the others before you, so the Environment Committee will hear this item on Tuesday, March 24th, and the full council will meet on Wednesday, April 8th. And if there are any questions that you have that I can't answer, as noted, City of Jordan's consulting plan on high levies is in the audience for it with us today. So the proposed action before you is to authorize the City of Jordan to place its 2040 comprehensive plan into effect, revise the city's forecast upward as shown in Table 1 of the review record, revise the city's affordable housing allocation to 294 units. That's based on the increase in the population and household numbers, and then advise the city that the council's authorization of the city's plan refers only to the 2040 planning period, and any references to post-2040 growth areas in Sand Creek Township are not included in any actions taken by the council. The city may not put those portions of the plan into effect, and that's because they don't have an orderly annexation agreement with that township. And then at such a time as the city acquires jurisdiction of those lands, plan for future urbanization in township areas either through an orderly annexation agreement or annexation by ordinance, the city will need to submit appropriate plan amendments to the council for further review and action. And this is standard for those municipalities that are planning for areas outside their borders. With that, happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. Questions on that report? Councilmember Bento, then Councilmember Cummings.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Riley, I don't have a question, but I just want to do a little pitch for Jordan. This is another one of those exit off the freeway communities that is worth the exit. It's a neat community. I worked with the teachers in the Jordan School District a long time ago for almost 10 years, and I always loved going into that community. It's beautiful, and it's very friendly, and it's a great spot to exit. So if you're going south on 169, give yourself a little extra time and see Jordan.
Thank you, Councilmember,
And I wasn't paid for that.
for that spontaneous, unpaid endorsement. Thank you. Councilmember Cummings.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This question may be better directed toward Director Barajas or Ms. Torres or something, but I'm curious on the planning assistance grants that the smaller cities are getting that I'm noticing more and more. Really, really important. I'm really in favor. That is very expensive to do these projects, especially, or to do review the comprehensive plans, especially for smaller communities that don't have generous staffing. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you determine who gets grants, what the grant application is, when it's done, how many have been able to take advantage of that? I see some of them are 16,000, some of them are 30,000, different things. Can you give us a little more information about those grants?
Director Barajas.
Sure. Mr. Chair, Council Member, for the record, I'm Lisa Barajas, the Community Development Director, and I will apologize because my memory is a little foggy. We developed the Planning Assistance Grant Program, as Councilmember Wolf will remember, I think in 2016, and got money out early. So there were 3 different categories, maybe 4 different categories of communities that were eligible. The first, I should say first, that communities were eligible based, or the council is authorized to put into place a planning assistance grant program by law. It's in the Land Planning Act, and the statute indicates that the council shall prioritize communities that have both a need and have a financial need, and they're growing in some way. And so the council had this main category identified. These were the largest portion of grants, which were about $32,000 each. Those were based on communities that had higher than the median growth projected for the planning horizon, and also had lower than the median net tax capacity per capita than the regional median. So financial need and showing a change in planning need as well. The council also wanted to support the collaborative efforts as well. So Dakota County Collaborative and the two counties that do the planning for all the townships, recognizing that that's a large undertaking to coordinate such a large geography. So created a category for just those communities. The number is escaping me what the grant amount award was for them. And then the council, maybe that was just three groups. And then the council.
Around 75,000, I think, but I'm not sure. 84?
84,000 for those. Thanks, Angela, from the audience. And then the third category was for communities that were less than 5,000 population. That's correct. And those were all smaller grants in nature too. Those were $10,000 grants. I can also share with you just the information. We have a link online that can show you. I think there are about 70 communities that were eligible, but I can share that with you after this meeting as well.
Thank you. I think Councilmember Wolf has more response.
LUAC was the one, the committee that figured out how to distribute the money. They talked it over for a couple of meetings and then presented information to the Community Development Committee, which then chose from they had a couple different options, and we went with the one that went to the most places.
Thank you for the history.
Thank you. Good program.
Thank you. Further questions on the report? Questions? Seeing none, Mr. Riley has proposed a series of actions to authorize the City of Jordan to place this 24 comprehensive plan into effect. Is there a motion to approve?
Move approval?
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in approval, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. Thank you, Mr. Riley.
Thank you.
Yeah, our fifth business item is 2020-85. It's also a joint committee's item. Thank you, Ms. Torres, for moving to. I wasn't quite sure who was presenting on this one. I don't see Mrs. Smiley here. This is the City of Hamburg 2040 Comprehensive Plan and Comprehensive Sewer Plan. And Ms. Torres will present. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and committee members. I'm here today on behalf of Raya Smiley, who is out of the office today. She's the sector rep for District 4 with Councilmember Barber. And she did the review for the City of Hamburg comprehensive plan. We do want to recognize Hyla Mays, who is the consulting planner for the city, and Raya wanted me to extend her appreciation to Hyla for really diligently working through the plan review process with her. Much appreciated. And before you today is the review of the City of Hamburg's 2040 Comprehensive Plan. This map shows the location of regional system components within the City of Hamburg. There are no principal arterials and no regional park system components located within Hamburg. The current wastewater treatment services are provided by a wastewater treatment plant owned and operated by the city. And the plan does not state that the city is considering a request to connect to the Metropolitan disposal system by 2040. Thrive MSP 2040 is designated the city as rural center. Hamburg is located in southwestern Carver County, is completely surrounded by Young America Township. Table 1, also in your staff report, shows that between 2020 and 2040, the council forecasts that the city will grow by 90 people, representing 40 households. There will be an increase of 20 jobs in the city in the same time frame. Table 2 from the staff report shown here illustrates the planned residential density in the rural center areas of the city. The overall density for guided residential land is expected to be between 5.7 and 10.43 units per acre. Communities with a rural center designation under Thrive are expected to plan for forecasted population and household growth at overall average minimum densities of 3 to 5 units per acre for new development and redevelopment, and Hamburg's plan is consistent with this policy. The city's existing land use map refers to figure 3 in the staff report. The existing land uses in the city of Hamburg are predominantly residential. Most of the existing commercial uses are along Park Avenue and Railroad Street, and the industrial areas are mainly located in the northeastern part of the city. 17% of the city is parks and recreation, with almost 7% of the city as undeveloped or vacant. The city's future land use map refers to Figure 4 in the staff report. The city's future land use map shows that the majority of the city continues to be guided as low-density residential areas. Guided for medium-density residential and mixed use are mainly planned around Park Avenue and along the railroad corridor. Approximately 20% of the city is guided for park, recreation, or preserve that are located on the northern and southern edges of the city. The proposed findings are that the plan conforms to metropolitan system plans, is consistent with council policies, and compatible with the plans of adjacent local governmental units and affected jurisdictions. The meeting schedule, as you can see, is for environmental services staff to present to the Environment Committee on March 24th and will be in front of the Metropolitan Council on April 8th. If the committee does have any questions, I want to remind you that Hyla Mays is here in the audience as well. And with that, the proposed action before you is to authorize the City of Hamburg to place its 2040 comprehensive plan into effect and advise the city to implement the advisory comment in the review record for surface water management. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Torres. Questions on that report? I do have, and I also want to thank Ms. Mays for being here and for your work on behalf of these two cities and your partnership with the council. Much appreciated. And Ms. Torres, did I hear you correctly when you said that the wastewater treatment plant is municipal, is owned by the city? Is that?
Yes, Chair, and committee members, owned and operated by the city and with no intention, at least by 2040, for the Metropolitan Council to take that.
Thank you. And then my question is, why do they have a comprehensive, so why are we reviewing a comprehensive sewer plan if they have municipal wastewater treatment?
Chair and committee members, I will take a stab at answering that first, and Director Barajas can pitch in if she needs to.
Thank you.
Rural centers, while they don't often have wastewater treatment plants operated by the council or connected to the metropolitan system plan, in very long-term plans may very well be part of the long-term sewer service plan. The intention is for those local systems to guide land and serve provide utilities at a density and manner in a similar way in which we would expect closer to the metropolitan core to do. If Director Barajas has anything else to add, I'm happy to.
Thank you. Director Barajas, anything to add?
Sure, Mr. Chair, council members, is actually because it says in statute that we need to. That
That as well.
any sewer plan in the metro area needs to be approved by the Metropolitan Council, whether or not they connect to our system. The things that we don't approve that we do for our system are connections to the regional wastewater treatment plant itself or to the system itself. So like when development actually occurs, building permit comes in, they also request a sewer connection permit that comes through the council for approval with MPCA, but connections to municipal systems to the overall plan, however, the council does need to review and approve for all of the reasons that Angela stated.
Okay, cool. And that's statutory. All right, thank you. Further questions on that report? Further questions? Seeing none, Ms. Torres has proposed actions to authorize the City of Hamburg to place the 2040 comprehensive into effect and to advise the city to implement the advisory comments in the review record for surface water management. Is there a motion to approve?
Move approval?
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Discussion. Seeing none on approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That carries. Thanks for stepping in, Ms. Torres, and for the report. Our final business item for today is item 6. It's 2020-88. It's the Vermilion River Greenway Regional Trail Master Plan. In Dakota County is the implementing agency, I assume, and it's Macy's, and Mr. Mullen is here rather than Mr. Kelly to present. Mr. Mullen, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. I am here today. I'm Emmett Mullen again. I'm the Regional Parks Manager, and I am presenting on behalf of Colin Kelly, who actually prepared the report today. This is the Vermilion River Greenway Regional Trail Hastings master plan, and Dakota County is the implementing agencies that are responsible for this. This item was presented at the March 5th Metropolitan Parks and Open Space Commission. There was not a quorum at that meeting. As Chair Lilligren knows, who just was in interviews with Councilmember Atlas Ingebrigtsen and Tony Russo and myself, we are looking for 2 additional commissioners. But the members present made a recommendation, a unanimous recommendation, to forward it to the Community Development Committee. So here is a map of the region on the left. The Vermilion River Greenway Regional Trail is located in the southeast portion of the regional park system in Dakota County. This is figure 1 in your staff report. When complete, the approximately 15-mile-long regional trail will connect the Mississippi River Trail, Greenway Regional Trail, the Point Douglas Regional Trail, and Hastings, with Whitetail Woods Regional Park and the planned Vermilion Highlands Greenway Regional Trail to the west. Today's focus is a 5-mile segment, the Hastings segment of the Vermilion River Greenway Regional Trail, as depicted in the map on the right. This is figure 2 in your staff report. Future planning efforts will determine the preferred alignment for this remaining 10 miles, but that's not today. So let's dive into the Hastings segment of the Vermilion Regional Trail. Community engagement. Before the master plan was developed, Dakota County completed an in-depth multicultural outreach process as part of its 2017 Visitor Services Master Plan. This was a big county-wide effort, which resulted in valuable information about recreational interests and preferences, with a focus on a wide array of cultural groups, people of color, non-native English speakers, and immigrants. Input gathered through this Visitor Services Master Plan influenced what went into this master plan, including goals to provide safe and accessible facilities, the goal to provide clear signage and other helpful amenities along trails and within adjacent park spaces, and to provide information about other regional park and recreation facilities. Additional input was also solicited specifically for this master plan from people of color, as well as low-income residents and potential trail users in this area. They did this by contacting several local organizations, such as ArtSpace Hastings River Lofts. This is a development meant to provide affordable housing to artists. Hastings Community Education, the United Way, the Tilden Community Center, 360 Communities, and the Hastings Family Service. The master plan focused on outreach. The master plan outreach also focused efforts on an open house, email outreach, information posted on a project website, online questionnaires, and other targeted efforts. Some of the input received during the planning process included adding lighting to wooded portions of the trail corridor, making the trail corridor more inviting around Vermilion Falls. This is a park in Hastings. And to keep the future undeveloped trail segment along the Vermilion River corridor and not along County Highway 46, which is a busy road. So the overall development concept. The master plan identifies the preferred regional trail alignment, alternative alignments, gateways, and grade-separated crossings. The map on the right is figure 3 in your staff report. Like other greenways in Dakota County, the Vermilion River Greenway Regional Trail will integrate linear recreation, non-motorized transportation, water quality improvements, habitat preservation, and interpretation. To do so, the county will work with multiple partners along the trail alignment, including the City of Hastings, a key partner, the Vermilion River Watershed Joint Powers Organization, and many others. Dakota County is also very committed to ensuring universal accessibility along the trail corridor and among all the trail facilities provided. That's a very serious commitment from them. Estimated project costs. To secure at least a minimum 30-foot trail corridor, Dakota County estimates 19.4 acres or 5.35 miles of land is needed for this trail. This amounts to about $2.5 million for acquisition, and they're looking at acquiring over a 20-mile horizon. Development costs include trail construction, wayfinding signage, site furnishing such as benches, drinking fountains, and bicycle racks, lighting, vegetation restoration, and water quality improvements. And these costs are estimated at about $3.8 million. Taken together, the total estimated acquisition and development costs of the Vermilion River Greenway Regional Trail is $6.3 million. It's important to note that approval of this master plan in front of you today does not commit the council to any funding at this time. The acquisition and development costs based in this master plan may be awarded through our Park Acquisition Opportunity Fund program, the Regional Parks Bonding Program, the Parks and Trails Legacy Fund, and maybe others. The rationale of the proposed action. The Vermilion River Greenway Regional Trail Hastings Master Plan is consistent with the requirements of the 2040 Regional Parks Policy Plan, including Planning Policy Strategy 1 and other council policies such as those included in Thrive MSP 2040. So, almost done here. The proposed action in front of you today is that the Metropolitan Council approve Dakota County's Vermilion River Greenway Regional Trail Hastings Master Plan and require Dakota County, prior to initiating any new development of the regional trail corridor, to send preliminary plans to the Metropolitan Council's Environmental Services Division Assistant Manager. So with that, I am happy to try to answer any questions or have any comments that you have.
Thank you, Mr. Mullen. Any questions on that report? Yeah, Councilmember
Mr.
Bento.
Chair, I just have one comment. I've said it before, but it bears repeating probably at every meeting. The Dakota County leaders and residents have been remarkable stewards, and they're to be commended for the great work they do in terms of trails and parks and creating something for future generations. It's just outstanding. I don't represent anything in Dakota County. I wish I did, because they are amazing.
Great, thank you for that. Further discussion or comments? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve? Councilmember Wolf.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do represent that area, and I would move approval.
Great, thank you. Yeah, let's see. Second, any discussion on the motion? Discussion. Seeing none, all in approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries, and seeing no further business before this committee, we're adjourned.